And it's time once again for the 10 Weather Chat. Daniel, Mike, and Todd joining you again today. Thank you for joining us. We always have fun on these 10 Weather Chats. You know what? We mainly focus, of course, on weather, meteorology, but sometimes we like to open it up for different topics. And boy, I tell you what, we were brainstorming earlier, Mike and Daniel. We got some ideas that probably going to bring in, a different panel guest.
Yeah, why not?
As we go in time, because we're always talking about weather, and we have fun doing that, and certainly hope you enjoy it. But, we're open to your feedback as well. We want this to be an informative and fun time. We've got a great show, I think, lined up today because meteorologist Mike Simon put together some great graphics.
Oh, you're too kind.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be talking about rain, tropics, heat, and maybe some heat relief.
That's what we want.
That's what we want. Yeah. Here we are, mid-August now. And, so let's talk about what we're looking at. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. And so the first headline today, and then it rained.
It kept raining.
And it kept raining. I mean, a lot of folks that's kind of the water cooler talk and the buzz out there. It's like, man, it seems like we've had a wet summer. Mm-hmm. And definitely a wet August. All of a sudden, Mike, Daniel, it's turned. It seems like it's rain. Mike, you put together this, all but 2 days, we've had measurable rain. We got some teas, trace amounts.
Yeah, but we know there was rain around for some people when that happens. So.
Exactly. Now, full disclaimer, this is at McGee-Tyson Airport, where sometimes it doesn't quite, associate or is not overly respective sometimes.
Crickets.
That's the crickets. Daniel, Thank you,
I almost didn't get it in time.
That was perfect.
You wonder if a flock of birds a lot of times are like over the top of the box and
kind of shielding the rain. We talk about this a lot. Sometimes in Knoxville, we get soaked, and then we check in on the airport, and Daniel just gave us a favorite moment ago. We got the crickets. So right there. So we'll continue. I love that theme. That's our summer theme. Kind of matches up with the crickets. Hope y'all enjoy that, folks. I love sound effects. It's perfect, Daniel. All right, so here's what we're looking at, though. Yeah, we've had some rainy days. We've had, first 2 days of the month, got to start it off. We're looking at, on the 7th, had 0.8 of an inch. On the 11th, had a 1/2 inch. And so that's the story. Yeah, it has certainly rained, and it has been wet. Let's talk about how that compares. And you see the top right, by the way, we have a surplus departure of over 1.25 inches, and we average, I believe the average is 3.63 inches for the month of August. So that's what we're looking at going forward. So let's talk about what we're looking at here. Yeah. There's a look at our total, and you see for the months. Notice June and July at the airport, we were a little bit behind, but we've certainly been wetter. Ever since May, we've had decent rainfall.
Yeah, we've caught up a little bit because you were off, 4.41? Yes. And I've seen it up there almost to 6 at one point. So at least it's kind of whittled down a little bit.
Exactly. It was almost 6. Maybe just a little bit under 7, but it was up there at one point, exactly, minus 4.41 for the year. And so we don't want to try to get to all that back in one day, but but it's certainly, if you think it's been a wet summer, and particularly wet August, you are exactly right. So basically ever since July and much of this month of August, we've kind of turned the corner. So we've had a wet summer, and just to show you, as of today's recording, the new drought monitor is out. And so for this week, and it is approved. This is last week, just for perspective. So this is last week. And notice down into Sevier County, a little bit of that moderate drought, and parts of Ray and Meigs County to McMinn, a little sliver of...
not much, though.
Not much. I mean, Morgan and Rome County. This was last week. So here we go. Here's the reveal. So this week...
It's black.
Black. You got that crickets, Daniel?
What happened?
You know what? We were
Go backwards.
I'm gonna go back. This is a podcast, so we're not bound by on-air TV time. So we can have fun. We're gonna try to get this thing to work because it was working a moment ago. Let's see if it'll work.
Oh no, really?
It's not gonna work. All right, folks. Have to.
We'll talk about it.
Bear with. We're just gonna talk about it. Let's see if we can trigger. Sometimes it does this. Crickets. So basically. Thank you, Daniel. This is class. It improved slightly. So, and by the way, the cutoff is Tuesday at 8 a.m. So, that sliver of drought that was in Sevier County.
It shrunk just a little bit.
It better be gone next week.
Yeah.
Because Gatlinburg got 4 inches of rain in one rainfall event this past week. And so, I say it better be gone. Todd. Sometimes we're curious of why it doesn't change too much.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Let me preface, it should be gone next week. But hey, we're out of the drought. Most all areas are out of the drought. We're still a little abnormally dry, but most areas with this recent rains have improved. All right, so it's rained. Now let's talk about the tropics. Now as we move through the month of August, Mikey made this graphic and loaded up for us. The most likely development regions, kind of the MDR, main development regions, coming out of the Lesser Antilles and up toward Dominican Republic into the Caribbean and southern
all
Bahamas.
the people who live there know it.
Yeah, and they know it. Exactly. So now that we're moving into August, the oceans typically is in a given year, in a typical year, ocean waters heat up. There's a lag from the peak solar insolation where you have your maximum air temperatures. It's usually July, but there's a lag that the ocean temperatures usually reach their peak later in August, September. So that's why you see a peak in hurricane tropical activity usually later in August into September. So that's kind of the prevailing main development region. So kind of toward the islands and coming into the Caribbean, southern Bahamas. Now, as far as tropical climatology, again, it's basically always been right around September 10th. If you look at that maximum peak.
But look how fast it climbs through August.
Man, doesn't it though? My wife and I love to watch, this is just a quick total squirrel moment. We love to watch Tour de France.
Oh, yeah.
And Tour de France. And this reminds me of a Cat 1 or an HC, which we call Holy Cow, but when they climb the big hill, it's kind of what it reminds me of. Go from a sprint stage to the big mountain stage. Anyway, total side note, nothing to do with weather. It climbs rapidly, Mike. So yeah, as you go look at that, from August, September, and into early October. So much of September, a lot of times, you can see increase in activity. Now this year with a very strong El Nino, so far as expected, the Atlantic and the hurricane activity is expected to be less in the Atlantic basin versus what we've had in the Pacific. And Todd just somehow
it jumped to the end.
It did. It jumped to the end.
No, one more.
Jumped to the end. So
there it is.
Somehow I just hit the space bar. It jumped 5 graphics.
That's bizarre.
Okay, so we don't have a grasshopper thing to it. It's okay, Dad.
Give me a couple seconds,
you're totally
maybe we will. Vamp for me, Todd. Vamp.
You're good. You're good. We got plenty of time here. All right, so let's talk about. We went from the main development region. Now we're talking about tracking tropics. I got some active waves coming off the coast of Africa and moving through the tropical Atlantic. Again, now keep in mind, why is it not going to be that active or less than active typically in a strong El Nino for the Atlantic basin? A lot more shear. Hurricanes, tropical systems, they do not like to be disturbed.
And you may want to, what's shear?
Yeah, what's shear? You got strong winds aloft. So as the hurricanes develop at the surface, the bathwater, they're favorable, the warm water temperatures, but then they grow, they hit that shear.
Yeah, they get torn apart.
They get torn apart. And a lot of the salt in the upper level, the dust and some of that, Saharan air layer that comes across also is not favorable.
Suppression.
Yeah, suppression. So exactly. That suppresses the hurricane. So we do have a couple of waves to keep an eye on. Now, here's a look. We can have fun with this, Mike and Daniel. So we've had 3 named storms so far. Arthur, Bertha, and this next one on the Hurricane Center pronunciation guide is they have it as Cristobal. But Mike,
in the past, it wasn't Cristobal.
It wasn't. Cristobal. Like crystal ball. So a little bit of
But we need to ask Daniel. He's...
Daniel, what do you think? That is classic. I love it.
Well, it's all
well
right.
said, Daniel.
It's irrelevant now, right?
It's irrelevant because I tell you what. Now that it's been crossed out, it's actually it was a brief tropical storm in the north central Atlantic. It was curving to the east and it gone. So it was a very brief named storm, and now it's gone. So crystal ball, I don't know. I saw a post. It's French, and so for the French pronunciation, apparently, is Cristobal.
Cristobal,
which is what we always used to say, but somewhere along the line, and this is a sea named storm, so. Not likely for those, they can, doesn't matter, but usually the ones that get retired are further down the list, as we know. But so it's been circulated. Every 6 years, these names will come back around unless they're particularly devastating to damage. So every 6 years, these
just
names
call me Michael. for Michael. Michael.
That reminds me of the Cars movie.
Yeah.
All right, so the next named storm, which we don't want it to be too strong and certainly don't want it to come up into the southern Appalachians. Dolly.
Mm-hmm.
But no issues with that one as far as pronunciation. All right, Daniel, thank you, my friend, for those sound effects. All right, so let's transition now from the rain, the tropics, and now we got the heat.
Again.
We've got a heat wave. We're looking at a kind of a stretch heat, call it a heat wave, perhaps. Hopefully it's short term. Maybe this is summer's last hurrah, the last main.
We could only hope.
Heat wave. We can only hope.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
You're our only hope.
Yeah. We could only hope. But look at these forecast heat index values. Heat index, same thing as feels like temp. So look at these triple-digit heat index values. So we got to really stay cool and keep hydrated. It's going to be hot. Going to be hot all the way in, and then we should get a little bit of a break.
Well, you made a point yesterday because at the beginning of July,
right?
You talked about that. We had a couple 97-degree days.
We did.
So it's going to feel like that again.
July 2nd, July 3rd, 97. That's the hottest we've been so far. Y'all remember a couple days before the 4th. The 4th, it was like 91, but it was very hot. Had some big storms associated with that. So here's a look at the heat risk. And Mike, you put this together, and it's a great map because it takes into account the heat, humidity, and just how the impacts, if you will. You see the legend up there. So notice we've got the moderate to major impacts. This is going from a Thursday. Look at Friday. Again, as of this recording, tomorrow, look at Saturday.
Purple starts to show up.
Purple starting to show up in parts of our region. So we've got at least some major heat. May have to be dealing with some heat advisory criteria. Look at Sunday. Sunday we may max out with the temps and perhaps the heat risk with some major to maybe some extreme heat. May have heat advisory criteria. May have some heat alerts.
Now, there are some heat advisories already back just to our west. We're right on the edge of us.
Great point. They've been at west. Great point, Mike. West and Middle Tennessee has had the heat alerts. Yes, they've been dealing with it while we've had a stormy pattern. Now that ridge is building east, so we're going to get in on some of that hot weather, even into Monday next week. Now, the good news, by Tuesday, it may be Wednesday of next week.
Looking pretty good.
A little bit of better relief. So here's the big picture. So why is it going to be hot? Got the ridge and the jet stream building in, and you can see that's going to be anchored from the Tennessee Valley in the southeast. That takes us through Sunday, August 16th. And then thankfully we get a little bit of a cold front that's going to try to slip through. Here's what I'm hoping. I hope this verifies. Now, it's not a big one, but hopefully by the end of next week, this is Friday, August 21st.
Mm-hmm.
Just in time for high school football.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll see a front, slightly cooler, slightly drier weather, and maybe we get a break in the heat. You know, it does look like that ridge may try to build back in just a little bit that following weekend. But, yeah, hopefully, you know, autumn about 6 weeks away. So, Daniel, Mike, what do you think? If we get to a front coming in, time for high school football, that will certainly make it feel just a little bit more comfortable. So, hope everybody is having a great summer.
Oh, yeah.
Daniel, how's your wife doing with school and everything?
Oh, yeah, we're counting down the days. This Monday, classes begin at UTK.
Okay, so that's coming up.
Knoxville's about to be crowded. You're about to feel a lot of Big Orange in the atmosphere.
Oh, yeah.
And, we're about to get rolling. We're very excited.
That's a great point. Here we go. Students back in town. Yeah, the traffic patterns changing. Schools back in session in Knoxville, Knox County. Hope everybody's had a great start to school.
Parents get a break.
Parents get a break. That's right. Now, before we leave, here's one other thing. I was thinking about this the other day. So school started back.
Mm-hmm.
Do area pools close because there's not as much lifeguards? You know, they're going back about the time college starts back or high school starts back.
I don't know. We always swam in the creek. I grew up in the country.
Tell you what.
There was no pool.
Tell you what. Well, the way to keep this is what's been my. You know, back in the day, we didn't go to school when I was growing up until after Labor Day. I'm old.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started getting earlier and earlier. But it used to be, you know, after Labor Day and we go into June. But, you know, the pools were still open through the month of August. But here's a good reminder why.
Yeah.
Kids are back in school and it's blazing hot. So, I don't know.
It's still hot when they get out of school.
Still
right?
be great if
and on the weekends.
I know. It'd be great if it keeps some of those pools open. And just a slight PSA, I wish the state parks would bring back some of the pools. Just throwing that out there. Great activity. Go camping. Or you just take our boys and need to substitute for a shower. That's all the time we got for today. But you know what? Thank you for joining us, guys. We always have fun. Again, we're going to be having fun in the future, talking about more weather patterns and looking ahead to fall, hopefully sooner rather than later. So until next time, hope you have a great rest of your week.